Now I have to do everything all over again? Really? Well, this is how we learn. This is how we learn. So let me try that over again, shall we? Oh, this is so silly. All right. So here I am trying to explain what I just explained, which is that I am in a bit of chaos because it's tax day today. And I'm wearing my Batgirl outfit, and I don't know how many people are going to show up, but hey, I'm here. Whatever happens, happens. And hopefully you can hear my beautiful music. And if you can't, then go to my podcast and listen to it. It is by a wonderful friend of mine, and we created it. Yeah. So can I just vent to you guys about tax day? Because I think I just went on a rant about it, and then nobody heard it because I wasn't live. And so today I had taxes. Oh my gosh, look at all these people. Holy cow. Slight technical difficulties. Well, that's an understatement. For me, that is pretty much my life. And it is where I am at today. Not just technical difficulties, but being able to just go into my bill pay thing and know that I have all these things to owe Uncle Sam or whoever the powers that be are. And it was just awful. And I hate paying taxes. I really do. And so I'm really glad to be here because we're going to be talking about people in chaos, and I am one of them. Maybe, as my guests have done before, you can just calm me down because I am just sort of reeling from wanting to get that perfect intro and then not being live. And thank you, Timmy, the tool guy. You have used your wrench with me today and told me that I was not even live. So anyway, where do we start? I have a guest today. As you can see, my friend Laura Valancourt is here, and she is going to be participating in a discussion about people in chaos. I'm so glad to see her. And then we have a special surprise guest as well. I see the special surprise guest is in the lobby, and we will wait for the special surprise guest for a little bit. But thank you for being here, both of you. I'm going to bring up Laura now. And I see that there's, I had said hello to some people before, Crystal, Jess, and then, Carrie. Carrie knew I wasn't live. Yeah, you're a pretty sharp one. Little Bilby and Rabid Dog. Jess, thank you so much. Dorothy, thank you so much for being here. It's like I was saying earlier, if it was just me and Timmy and Laura and special surprise guest, then it would be a good time and we would have something that is kind of cool. So, all right. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my friend and colleague, Laura Valancourt. I'm going to add her to the stream. And welcome, Laura.
Hi. Can you hear me okay with my earbuds?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear. How are you today, girl?
I am good. I'm a little orange. I didn't get my lighting. I left my light at the office, and I thought I was going to make it today, but c'est la vie.
You're looking
Hi, Carrie.
Hey. Yeah. So, gosh, where do we begin our topic? And then, are you intrigued the fact that I have as a special guest, a secret surprise guest?
I was going to ask, who is this person? I'm excited to find out who it is too.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and hold that for a little while, so that people will pour on in and see. There's Cheryl. So we've got 17 people here. Woo-hoo. I always thought that would be 4. And so if anybody hasn't seen my Halloween costume, I am the Batgirl. I'm the Batgirl.
I love it.
I can have a magic cape. I can put over my head, or no, not over my head, but see, I can fly. Maybe I could fly away. Maybe I could just let you and Timmy do this this live stream. I could fly away and into a bat cave somewhere.
I love it.
I totally thought I would get the intro perfect this time, and then Timmy's like, "You're not even in the live stream."
Oh man!
Awful. I know. I got to do a sound effect with that. Wait a minute. That would be a big. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. Gotta do that one again. Gotta do that one again. Yeah. Hopefully that came out loud and clear, because that was what I felt like was happening to me today. So.
Oh
anyway,
man!
I'm
sorry.
It's okay. Live and learn, right? Yay.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? We talk about chaos and feeling just all the emotions that come with that. And I was really just hearing you talk about doing taxes was putting me in that state as well. So we can't deny that we're all connected, right? That we're feeling the energy of our families, our communities, the greater collective.
Right. Yeah. And it's sort of like, we have, and I think I was saying this when I was live, not live, but we have stimuli that's coming into our lives. Like there's certain things you see on TV, hear on the radio, people in your life, emails, things that you have to do that are naturally occurring. And then there are these things that just sort of steamroll you, that just, you don't even realize that they're even a thing. And everything just sort of comes down on you. And it's just, what do I do next? And how do I keep it together is kind of where my mind is.
Absolutely. Yep. And then from moment to moment, right? We can switch from feeling on our game and doing great and things are just happening to one tiny little piece that just throws us backwards and gets us. Yeah. I hear you.
It's time
to try my light on.
Yeah. Well, you look lovely to me anyway. I'm going to take my
better, I think,
right now, because 66.5. What is that all about?
Because you're Bat Girl.
Oh, that's the
it's
room.
The Bat Blood.
Bat Blood is 66.5. Okay, let's see if I got COVID or not. No, I'm still okay. I mean, not like I'm disappointed, but let me take your right here. Let me. Okay.
You get my head in there.
Okay, there you go. Oh, it says you're low. You might want to check that out.
Cool.
Oh my goodness. Well, so here we are. We're finally established, and we have 18 people here. Wow, I didn't expect this.
This is great.
We're just being a little silly, and this is my buddy Laura, and then we have a secret surprise guest that's coming up. I think in a couple of minutes, but I do want to talk to you, Laura, because you are, I think, one of the main people that I go to when we want to like sort of manifest our dreams, and we want to talk about being the people we want to be in our lives. And I so look up to you because you seem so centered and grounded, while I am sort of one of those yarn balls that is kind of like always unfurled. So tell me how you do it. What is your secret, sweetie?
Well, I'm laughing really hysterically on the inside because I certainly don't feel like I have my shit together, or that I'm grounded all the time, or but I laugh also because I love astrology. That's kind of one of my fun, like, pastime things. And mine is Virgo. And what that means is your rising sign is how other people see you. And Virgo is the sign of being, having your shit together and being organized and having a plan. And it's an earth sign, so it's very grounded. And I really think people see me that way. But the reality is I'm a Libra, so I'm constantly bouncing back and forth. I have a hard time making up my mind. Decisions are hard. I'm constantly trying to balance the chaos.
Yeah.
So, yes. Wow. So I would say, aside from the astrology, that I do feel that I'm also a highly sensitive person, which I think a lot of people are. And I'm very attuned, and I don't know that that's a good thing all the time, to my own body and sensing the energy around me. And so the downside of that is I can get overwhelmed really easily. And the upside of that is I can listen to myself and know where my limits and boundaries are, and do things to help preserve and protect my own energy.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, so I've got an earth sign. I'm a Taurus, and then I actually do know my rising sign is Libra. So does that mean that I like try and personify the fact that I'm like even in balance?
But you don't even have to try. I think people see you. That's the thing. You don't even have to try. People just see you as Libra, is that sign of just being friendly. It's a relationship sign. And so people love being around you usually. I could totally see that. I could see that you're very fair and balanced, and you like to look at all sides of things. And those are the traits that people are going to pick up on you. And Carrie's a Taurus.
Carrie's a Taurus. Yay. That's all I was able to see because I was so focused on Laura. Yeah, so my husband, Timmy, who is the wrench in here, he's the one who is the tool. He was telling me he's a tool. And so he's using his wrench. He is a Libra. And so I feel like, that we balance each other out pretty well.
I bet.
I do feel like I'm in the Munsters, or like, does something look like kind of something that Lily Munster would wear? It's something that falls off of my shoulder. So if it starts to slide, just let me know.
Yeah, there's like many Tauruses in your group.
Oh, there are?
Little Bilby's a Taurus, and Amber's a Taurus, and Carrie's a Taurus. And
oh my goodness.
I love it. These are all these grounded people, right? These.
Wow, I guess maybe they can help me calm my tax chaos, because it was bad today. And here I was. And so I have to go downstairs to copy all of these taxes that I just paid. And lo and behold, I go on the windowsill is right next to the copier, and there's this huge freaking hairball there with vomit. And I'm like, seriously? Like, this is happening to me right here when I'm doing my taxes. And I'm just like, at one point in time, just thinking, the universe is telling me to stop. Does that mean that the universe is telling me to stop paying taxes? That would be delightful.
You're so in tune. You're really listening.
I think that if the IRS came back at me and said, hey, why didn't you pay your taxes? I could say, well, you know what? The universe just wasn't having it that day, Uncle Sam. Sorry, maybe next quarter.
Yep.
Oh,
you were listeting loud and clear to the messages.
Right.
Well, we could dive deeper into the symbolism of that, right? So where was this cat puke? and what were you thinking when you found it? And
exactly. Yeah,
all that good stuff.
It was several days old. Let me just tell you that. It seemed to have dried out of it, but
anyway. What does that represent? It represents the stuff that we don't want, right? It's the regurgitated stuff that we got to do over and over again.
Wow, like taxes. That totally represents taxes to me. It's old, it's bad, it's something I don't want to do, and it's regurgitated, something I always have.
It keeps coming up at the times that you don't want it.
Wow. Well, this is great, because I've never had another therapist on. Well, I've only had 3 other lives. I've never had another therapist on. Laura, tell the audience, because I don't think they know you. Just tell them what you do in our community here in Olympia as a licensed mental health counselor.
Well, I have a small group practice, and I serve the aging population. So my specialty is working with older adults, and usually that means a huge part of our clientele are family members. So it's usually somebody taking care of their mom or their dad, or they are lost and they are trying to navigate these complicated systems, and they're stressed out, or they're also raising their own children, or they live out of town. So we do a lot of counseling and care management support for those folks.
Wow, I bet you have been having a lot of chaos, especially in light of what has been happening in Thurston County where we live, and the nursing home. There has been an outbreak of COVID cases here. And
yeah, we have two. Yeah, we've got 2 buildings right now here. Thurston County was starting, our numbers were looking pretty good. And then we got it was a memory care facility that was hit really hard. And then there is also a skilled nursing facility that's hit right now too.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's just so sad. The thing really that is the most sad that I think people aren't really talking enough about is those buildings that haven't been hit by COVID, but are isolating their older adults. And so many of us probably know this, but there's so much research done about isolation and the need to connect with others and the importance of just being around people, the power of human touch, the positivity, the morbidity rate for people that have the exact same health condition, but one person feels connected and another person doesn't, and how the person that feels less connected is the one that is likely going to decline the quickest. So just all of those pieces that I think that we're just not talking enough about. We're so focused on positive numbers, tracking the cases, but we're not doing as good of a job, I feel like, that we could be in protect. See, this is the catch, right? You want to protect the most vulnerable. And the only way that we have known to do that is to isolate them. But the reality is those people are failing and dying as well, not because of COVID, but because of the isolation. And so there's this catch that we're all in right now on how to continue to support those older folks that are in facilities.
Right. Yeah. And I just didn't understand what happened because I thought, you and I did one of my podcasts on, I think it was probably after COVID. Yeah, it was, because we talked about COVID and about how the nursing facilities are so locked down. So how could germ get into our nursing facilities?
Such a good question, because facilities should be the safest places of all, because they are isolating everybody. They're not letting families in. They're not letting friends in, but they are letting employees in. And that's what's happening is these facilities, whether it's memory care, assisted living, adult family homes, skilled nursing facilities, they're all are following exactly what they're supposed to be doing. However, employees are, a lot of the employees are younger. They have families, they have kids. They are trying to make things work. And nobody is intentionally exposing themselves or trying to, spread this virus. But the reality is that we need those healthcare workers, the caregivers, and med techs and nurses, and they are in and out of those buildings. And that is usually, I think in all the cases in Thurston County for facilities that have been hit, they've traced it back to an employee. So, yeah.
And you make a good point about the younger people with children. And I just wanted to call attention to the comment that Cheryl is making here, is that in Alaska, they've skyrocketed since schools have started. But in Thurston County here in Olympia, in Washington, we don't have in-person school. So it's just, again, just kind of bamboozles me how these cases could be even getting into the nursing homes. And so it was really sad to hear that last week. And I'm just kind of wondering if you have any, I think that some of the people in our audience have loved ones who are older and who are maybe being cared for, and maybe they have some chaos that they want to calm because they've got loved ones in facilities or loved ones who are vulnerable. What would you say that they might want to do to calm themselves down in such a time like this?
Yeah, I think that one of the things I think about a lot is what can you do? You know, I mean, like take a big step back and recognize, because it feels overwhelming. It feels like there's no hope. It feels there's this big unknown thing happening. There's political and financial, and I mean there's so many. It's just overwhelming. I don't have to tell you that. We're all, you know, living in it, and we're feeling the collective. That's the other thing to remember, is we're feeling the collective chaos from all of this. And so what can you do to take a step back and preserve your sanity, if you will?
Whatever's left of it, right?
Whatever's left of it, yeah. If you had any to begin with. So I know you and I were talking a little about that, Tracy, because I was telling Tracy before that I have really kind of stepped back from the political scene and stepped back from the all of the ideas of what's going on with this virus, and because you could really get sucked down some rabbit holes, and not that, you know, I'm the last person to sit here and say that I think I know what's going on, but I am the first person that will say I am definitely open-minded. I am not closed-minded when I think about the possibilities of any of it. And it was getting a bit much for me. And I just really recognize, again, my sensitivity. I just recognize I needed to take a big step back and not put on blinders. But what's a way to reframe? Because I don't feel like I'm just sticking my head in the sand by any means. Yeah, but I feel like I'm putting this like protective vortex around me and settling back into my regular routine. You know, what feeds me every day? What are the little tiny rituals that I do that, you know, like washing my face before I go to bed at night, or having a cup of tea, or sitting in my, you know, rocker back here and listening to a podcast, or, you know, just tapping back into that place of self-care for myself. And then also, I'm also thinking about remembering what you can do, what you do have control over. And sometimes that's as simple as you have a choice to get out of bed in the morning or not. And then and the beauty is you have a choice, right? You could stay in bed and there's no judgment on that, or you could get up, or you also have a choice about your thoughts. And that's a whole other world that's fun to explore, you know, the power of our thoughts, and how by thinking certain thoughts over and over, we create these connections and in the synapses and all of that. So yeah, we have more control over our realities and our environments than we give ourselves credit for, I think.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that exact thing today, because I felt like when I have so much stuff coming in, I sometimes go to more stuff to make that other stuff go away. So for example, if there's a lot of stuff coming in, like a lot of emails, a lot of appointments, a lot of things that people need, I find myself gravitating over to like escaping. But when I do, I go into an audiobook or a podcast or a YouTube channel, and it just gives me more stuff. And I don't know that I really need that stuff, but that's where my mind goes. It goes to more stuff. And then I find myself wondering, why am I so overwhelmed? And today I sort of thought about that idea, like, maybe I'm actually causing it myself. And so that's
how you contribute to it. Yeah. And also I love your example too, because I was thinking about how our brains are wired. You know, our human body is so fascinating, because we without even being conscious of it, right? Our body is operating. And so our brains preserve energy in any way that we can. And it preserves energy by going on autopilot, right? Or creating habits. It's those shortcuts in our synapses. And so when we think a thought over and over, or we have a habit that we do over and over, it gets to the point where we don't have to even think about it to do it anymore. And that's how we preserve energy in our bodies. And so it's creating new pathways in our brain that then will create new habits. So I don't know if any of you have heard Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. I love his stuff because he really talks about creating your new reality. So what he says is, if you think the same thoughts that you were thinking yesterday or last year, you're going to continue to live a life similar to yesterday or last year, right? So it's so important to educate yourself about changing your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, you change your life. So, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. I have to say that I agree with that I've not listened to Joe Dispenza?
Dispenza. Uh-huh.
But I will definitely check him out in a time where I'm not worried about the IRS, because that's what I was doing. I was worried about the IRS driving down the road because I had to take my husband got his car worked on today, so I had to take him or bring him back. So I was his ride back. Yeah. And then I was thinking, oh, I should just plug in and listen to something. And then I thought, no, like, let's look at the fall leaves, because the leaves are looking really nice and pretty today. And I realized at that point in time that I was kind of creating some stuff for myself. And, with these times being as they are, and tomorrow is our election, we wanted to kind of talk about sort of if anybody's going through any, I know we have some people in here who are from some other countries, but most of the people I think are from the US. And it doesn't look like anybody's going through an election chaos unless Timmy can. Oh, Dr. Joe, there it is.
Dispenza. Thanks, Tim.
Wow, he is a tool, but he's a useful tool.
He's awesome. Yeah, I love that.
For us, yeah. Right. So what are you thinking about the election coming up? It's tomorrow. Are we going to have to take to the streets because everybody's going to be shooting each other because everybody's not going to have their election results right? Is that what it's come to? Because that's what these people online are saying about the doom and gloom of our future because of the fact that we have these pre-existing vulnerabilities, and then we have so-called conspiracy for voter suppression, and then the Supreme Court is not stacked in the favor. I mean, it's really not stacked in a favor of one or the other party. Is kind of and then the results of the election, will a person who is elected or not, will they accept defeat? Or what's going to happen with that? Are you even thinking about it, or should we just change the subject? Laura, go.
Go. Well, I mean, I guess I look at things. I'm certainly not the one to talk to about following, what's the latest in politics, because again, I was pretty intentional about stepping back, being aware. I think I like to take the higher perspective. If you could imagine raising above, your body or the town or the city or the country, and just kind of observing what the hell is going on here, and noticing the themes. The themes are fear. The themes are, loss of control, and all of these really, ultimately it comes down to fear. And so paying attention to what's happening in your body when you're exposed to certain fear, again, recognizing that you have a choice about how to, what to think about, how to experience it, how to think about something is huge. Who is it? Wayne Dyer, his famous quote is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Oh.
And so, when you're you may not be able to change what is happening in front of you or the future or the past. I mean, we often can't change the past, but we can change how we think about it. And how I'm a big believer in bringing clean and clear energy to the table. And so for me, what's coming up is I'm remembering I'm laughing at that comment.
I know. That's why I put it up. It's like, no, I'm going to be like stuck in a hole, Paula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm remembering like my reaction at the last election, when I fell asleep watching the polls and I woke up and was frankly shocked and felt like it just felt like it wasn't real. It couldn't be real. It couldn't possibly be real, but it was. And then watching the collective experience of so many people after that election. And so my curiosity is piqued. Nobody knows. I think a lot of people had thought the same way that I did, and so people aren't just assuming that that the election's going to go the way that they think it's going to go, no matter what side you're on. And
exactly.
And by the way, I have my own piece of. I'm a little. Well, I guess what I want to say is that it can be really hard to feel like me personally feeling like I have to choose between these two options, and when neither option feels right to me. And I think that a lot of people are experiencing that too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like Crystal all night. Bless you. I like the way Laura just went to bed. I stayed up for a little while and sort of hoped that things would just sort of even out in the morning, and whatever happened, that we would still be kind of a peaceful nation. And woke up the next morning, and there was so many of my clients who are just in distress. There were a lot of people who are just kind of fearing the worst. And that's why I kind of want to talk about conspiracy theories. And like when people think that the worst is going to happen or the worst is happening around them. And many times these theories are not even close to the truth. And so wanting to just sort of, if we have anybody out there who is afraid or scared about either result, whether either candidate wins, that we can sort of look at conspiracy theories. In fact, I have this Psychology Today actually put out this thing on conspiracy theories and about how people who develop them are definitely looking for a simpler answer that is based in this is the bad, wrong thing. And to get rid of the bad, wrong thing is going to be the solution to what's going to make us more at peace. When more often, it is just kind of a rational explanation of the truth that is happening. Sometimes there are conspiracies, though, as well. So I think that we want to honor everybody's experience. I don't know. I think I'm just going to hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. I think that's my philosophy in all of this. And so looks like my wrench has a comment here. Oops, it was something else. What was the one about? It was the one about Mickey Mouse. Did you take that one away? Something about Mickey Mouse. Oh, there it is.
Tim and I are on the same page. We're the two Libras.
Yeah. Well, and I've got a rising sign in Libra too. So, well, so do you want to get the perspective of somebody who is not living in our country?
Yeah.
We can bring in our secret surprise guest.
Is this our guest?
This is our, and we'll see how this works. I'm just going to bring this person on, just a random person who wandered into our stream.
It's a red puppy.
Yeah, it's a red puppy.
I love him already.
Hey guys, how are we?
Hi.
Fairly chaotic. How are you, Rabid Dog?
I'm good. I have to say I've never been described as a special guest before, so I hope it's not an anticlimax.
No, a secret surprise guest. Maybe I did say special too. He's special. He's rabid, but he doesn't bite because he's way in another country and
he's far away.
Yeah, you're safe. You're safe from me. I'm pretty far away.
Yeah.
I like your Halloween dress there. I feel underdressed for the occasion with my red cartoon dog.
The red cartoon dog is always in style, always in fashion, and yeah. So
oh, bad girl.
Back
girl.
girl. Yay. Yeah, you couldn't see it. You know what? I have to use this webcam, and it like shrinks me down. The other one washes me out. So it's like I just can't win with webcams. So yeah, and I don't think you saw my collapsible mask. So I had this on, but I put this thing on earlier, and it's not great because it just snaps. Oh, see, it's a driving hazard. This is what happened with me on Halloween night. I'm like trying to drive and like wardrobe malfunction. So that ends that.
And how are you, Laura? I don't think we've spoken before, have we?
No, not at all. It's my first time here, and this is a lot of fun. I love this platform. This is great.
Yeah, it's great fun. And myself and Tracy, I think we spoke. Was it on Maureen's channel that we spoke before, Tracy? I think. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we've chatted a couple of times, but yeah. So Rabid and I talked about mental health a couple of times in the chat, and he remembered that I was having a live today. It was so sweet, and he was like, "I remembered that you said that I could come on," and I was like, "Oh, cool!
Yay!"
we love. And then, are you Scottish? I just have to know. Are you Scottish? Is that what you are?
I am. Yeah, I did live in Ireland for 10 years though, and I came back here just over a year ago. So
that's great.
I guess chicks really dig his accent.
Great accent. Yes, absolutely.
Do you know what I think it is? On YouTube, I think something like 95% of the viewers are American, right? Or the creators are American. So whenever someone hears an accent, from overseas, it just stands out a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yep, sure. Definitely.
Well, so somebody wants to know if Laura, so Little Bilby wants to know if you were interviewed on Aus TV. I think Little Bilby is in Australia. Like, did you get interviewed on Australian TV, Laura?
Not on Australian TV. I've been on some podcasts, and no.
Okay.
I would remember that. I'm trying to think if anybody I know lives in Australia that maybe did something, but no.
Oh, well, we just thought we'd ask. So
yeah, I'm curious why she would have thought that.
Yeah.
But
you might look familiar to her, but so Rabid, how is your chaos? Is it in the mild zone, the medium zone, or in the high zone at this point in time? Where's your chaos just in general?
Do you know what? I think I've always lived with pretty substantial chaos around, definitely, which is why I'm so interested to hear your guys' take on just the concept of chaos, and even how it plays a part in all different aspects of life. So it could be in relationships, it could be socially, it has an effect as well on how we deal with social media and YouTube itself, right?
Right.
Because there's something about chaos that is actually quite appealing, and I wonder if there's actually, if we do need a certain amount of chaos in our lives, if there's such a thing as a balance,
Yeah.
Well, we definitely see a lot of chaos on YouTube and in the communities that Rabid and I have been associated with. I think the true crime community, it really has had a lot of chaos in it. But I do think that it's a symptom of people working things out. And I think I heard it expressed best that we sort of all want the same thing, like just say it's peace and harmony or whatever. I wanted to have a wine bottle here just to kind of like say, this is the goal, like the wine. But we all have different ideas about how to get to that goal. And I think that's where the political stuff happens, and with online and in the YouTube community. What do you think, Rabid, about that? Like that idea that we all sort of want the same thing and we all sort of have the same goal in mind, but we have different ideas about how to get there.
Well, yeah, there's a mixture of a few things with YouTube in particular, I think, that happens. I think on YouTube, just the way it's structured, and this is, you don't find this quite the same in real life, right? Is it brings out the attraction we have for chaos inside us a lot more than would be normal in real life, because we have that anonymity, or most of us have that anonymity. So whenever we feel that there's maybe some injustice taking place, we all have this need inside us to try and be the white knight, that slays the dragon, right?
Good versus evil. Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
age-old kind of mythos, it's within us
Mhm.
all. And sometimes it can go too far where it can become toxic, and it can become a perpetual cycle, that just spirals down and no one wins that way. But I do think YouTube, and especially social media, exaggerates that aspect that's within us, which is interesting to me, right? Because YouTube is such a new thing. It's such a new way of communities getting together and communicating.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. I love that you brought up the anonymity of
Yeah,
communicating, because I think that people definitely uh, communicate, not how they communicate, but what they communicate is different depending on what platform they're
yeah.
using, and what like this group versus a different group that I might be in, or the things that I might say. I wanted to bring up something else too. You made me think of there's this study. I don't know if anybody's familiar with his name is Robert Sapolsky.
Oh, I know the name.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
wrote. He's a what is his background? He works at. He's a researcher. So I don't know if exactly what his specialty is. I should know this because I've seen him speak and I've read a couple of his books. But anyway, he studies baboons in the wild. And the reason he studies baboons in the wild is because he specializes in human behavior and human stress. And the studies he's done has been so fascinating, because what he has shown is that baboons, which are the most similar to human beings, actually, create communities, and they spend, out of a 24-hour day, they only need to spend about an hour gathering food and getting their needs met. And so they have all this other time on their hands to create these relationships with each other and these hierarchies and these power structures and dynamics. And so he has studied these baboon tribes for years, and it's fascinating, his research that shows, depending on who the leader is, and we can think about that as a leader of our country or a leader in your family, your family system, but depending on who the leader is and how they sort of rule, or how they nurture or not their underlings, is going to have a huge impact on the amount of stress that they feel. And when they're stressed, they do things like picking fights and starting wars and doing things that they wouldn't otherwise need to really do. It's just the fascinating research.
Do you think that's what we're doing right now as a people? We're picking fights with each other because we're just at the heart, or we're sort of.
I don't know.
We're stressed out with big fights
because we have so much. I mean, this is the theory that we have so much time on our hands. We have our needs met. Really, when you think about it. But the busier you are, like for people who don't have their needs met compared to others, they're so busy trying to survive. They don't have time for that shit, And so it's the concept is kind of like the more time you have on your hands, you fill it up with drama or stress or chaos. And or, you know, there were baboon tribes that pack. I don't know what a baboon group is called, but
pack maybe?
pack. They that had these really calm leaders that didn't have as much chaos in their packs. So
do you know what's interesting as well? And this is even true of human beings, is there's like a maximum amount in the community that is the perfect amount. And then once it gets above that, they have to split up into two separate tribes or packs.
That is fascinating.
You guys are getting all anthropological on me here.
I know. And Tim is so amazing. He's got the link to Robert Sapolsky.
Rocks. Robert Sapolsky rocks. Yeah.
He's a cool guy to listen to. He's, you know, big hairy guy, and he takes his family out to the jungle and, you know, or the savannah.
I've got an image in my head of Indiana Jones.
Yes, with he's got a big fuzzy beard, and he's so fascinating to listen to. He's very entertaining. And I don't remember the name of, he's written a couple books, but yeah. Definitely chaos.
Do you think that because we have, I don't know that we have more time because of this whole lockdown COVID thing, but we definitely are, some of us are working at home or we're not working as much. Do you think that's one of the reasons why there's so much explosion on YouTube? I guess, Rabid, I'm directing that question because Laura's pretty new to YouTube. In fact, she wants to, did you start a channel, Laura?
I don't have a channel at all, so I need to get one.
But, you should.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Rabid? As far as the more, do we have more time now, and that's kind of why everybody's sort of exploding?
It's a great question. I think it's been happening already over, I don't know, since the last 15, 20 years, but I think definitely under the lockdown, it's become exaggerated without a doubt. And just to go back to what Laura was saying earlier, I think it was Laura, about the worry that we have under COVID, especially for the older generations that are going to be especially more isolated, is the fact that they depend so much on communication, on socializing, you know, before this all came along. And we all know how isolation like this, or for them, can really affect, you know, stress levels, and it can lead to further mental health issues. And you just wonder how many illnesses are going to transpire for all these people that are not going to be detected under the normal COVID numbers, you know? Because you have a certain X figure for the amount of people that have passed away due to COVID itself, but there's going to be an additional amount of people whose lives have just, you know, ended a lot quicker than they would have in the past because of this isolation. So that's interesting and really worrying. And
I'm going to add to that just that your immune system drops. I mean, they've been able to measure this when you're not, when you're isolated or not feeling connected. And there's a difference too. I want to also bring up, there's a difference between feeling connected or feeling isolated and physically being. So an example is, you know, I used to work in a nursing home, and I was shocked to hear my clients say to me, I feel so alone. I feel like, and this is in an environment where they're in a shared room with someone, and nurses are in and out all hours of the day. They had zero privacy, but they felt so alone.
Yeah.
And so how we interpret that, I think, is just huge, right? Do you feel isolated? Do you feel alone? Or do you feel connected?
Because we all know the anecdotes of, you know, older couples that have been married for 30, 40 years, and
Yeah.
one of them passes away, and then the other one just, they kind of die of a broken heart,
Yes.
not much later. So
Yes.
you can see the analogy there, right?
Yeah.
They're going to lose that connection.
Well, I think in this case, then, that YouTube serves as a community to unite people, and yet there's so much chaos and arguing and side taking, and just, I think being able to filter out what isn't helpful is really is really key in this time, because if you find yourself continuing to go on to this thread about something and wanting to know what's happening and wanting to know the comments and wanting to know everything, then sometimes your head just gets so full that it's really not helpful. But everybody has their own limits. So I think that's what I'd have to add is that you just observe your own limits, listen to your body, like Laura was saying, and Kelly, the advocate, actually echoed that. It's like the body will be your barometer for telling you when, like, there's too much or not enough or whatever it is. So
yeah, because you can feel it physically, whenever you're really stressed. It's a physiological thing that happens.
Exactly. Well, what is your go-to? Let's see, I'm going to ask Laura, what is your go-to technique for when you do feel that sort of attention in your body and you know that you've had enough? What is your go-to technique to manage that?
I think I do two things. I do something physically and I do something, mentally. And I talked about one of the mental. For me, I just have, I take that step back and I try to just kind of rise above my body, I guess is the best way to describe it, but just kind of rise above the situation and say, really, in the big scheme of things, is this helpful? I mean, really, is my reaction going to help this situation or hinder this situation? And when we're talking about this global scale, like me worrying about the pandemic or me worrying about the election isn't going to change the outcome of it at all.
Right.
And again, I want to make that distinction. I'm a big believer in not burying your head in the sand either. It is very important to be informed, and it's very important to have a voice. And so just taking that step back, take a deep breath. And then the physical thing I do, my favorite thing, you're probably gonna laugh at me, but seriously, is I turn off the lights and I lay on the floor.
I just in the starfish
position. Crawl out.
Yeah, starfish.
And that just centers me, grounds me. Sometimes I do a little visualization of just connecting to the earth, or sometimes I'm just, purposefully not thinking about anything, but just to kind of, it gives you a different perspective, right? We're walking around in our head all the time, and to lay on the floor in this random room or space changes the whole perspective. So anyway, that's what I do.
Oh my gosh, yes, the starfish pose. I've heard of that. Wow. So what about you, Rabid? What do you do when things just sort of hit you and you're completely overwhelmed?
I go onto a YouTube drama channel and rage out. No, joking.
See?
So for him, that's actually really a good thing.
It's a release, right?
Yeah. No, and in seriousness, I would obviously take myself away from YouTube, get things into perspective. But in general, for me, it's things like music. I do painting as well, so that really helps. Yeah. And just
what kind of music? Are you finding music that meets you where you're at in your state, or are you purposefully choosing music to bring you into another state?
Oh, good question, Laura.
Yeah. I would say if I'm in that state of mind where I'm needing to just de-stress and, calm myself, it would be more kind of classical type music. I like all kinds of music, but it would tend to be classical or some kind of lo-fi electro music, something that just washes over you, you know.
Mhm.
Um,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what sort of music do you actually play, Rabid Dog? Because I'm a musician too.
oh, cool,
Yes. Tracy is a musician. She's
cool. Yeah, so I play guitar.
Ooh, I
And
got a guitar.
hey, we
I
should
have a
start a
guitar.
band.
I know.
Here.
I would love to.
Here's my guitar. Look.
Oh, it's an electric one as well.
Woo!
That's awesome.
This is like I'm like a superhero with a guitar. This is
Yeah.
You just raised your cool level like up by
Yeah.
10 points.
oh my gosh, yeah. So anyway, I can't really play it unless it's in open tuning because I don't know how to play a guitar. I'm a woodwind.
Oh, okay.
I have to have my buddy Will. He tunes it to open tuning, and then I can
Yeah.
kind of like sort of do some barred chords and such. So
Have you tried using a bottleneck with open tuning? That's pretty good.
bottleneck. I don't.
Like a slide.
Oh yeah. Oh, he tried to get me to do that, and it just I don't know. I don't hardly know how to use my fingers yet, like a tube on my finger. You know what I mean? I'm not there yet, let's just say. But wow. Yeah, so if you check out Rabid Dog's channel, I think he has some of his music on there, don't you, Rabid?
I do, yeah. I've got some on
Yeah.
there. I enjoy making videos for the songs that I do as well. You know, the video editing process is actually more enjoyable to me than recording the music.
Oh,
It's kind of weird that way.
Yeah.
Creative. It's the creative outlet, though.
Yeah.
So do you find that, like what Laura was saying, like do you go to classical music to calm yourself down? Or I mean, because sometimes people get depressed and they go to like, I don't know, just like really depressing music, and it just makes their depression even worse. But yeah, so classical music, does that sort of calm you down if you're completely overwhelmed?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I remember someone in the past saying to me, like, how can you listen to that music if you're in a low mood?
Exactly.
You know, it's so depressing, because it wouldn't even have to be classical. It could be something, like
emo or something, right?
Yeah, or like Radiohead or something,
Yeah, Radiohead, yeah.
It can be really emotional type music. But for me, it makes me feel better for some reason, because it seems more in tune with how my body's feeling, you know?
Of course, a musician would say in tune. Yes.
Yeah. But it is interesting that some people would find that they would need to listen to something more upbeat if they were feeling low, right?
Yeah. I do remember I was going through a kind of depressed time in my life, and I had the soundtrack to The Wedding Singer, and I was listening to like a lot of Thompson Twins and all that stuff that was on The Wedding Singer soundtrack, and I kept getting annoyed at it. Like, how can you guys be happy when I'm like freaking here?
Yeah. That's how I get. That's how I get.
I get that for sure. I guess the jury's out on that. I should try a little bit more music therapy for my own self. Like, what is going to work for me in this moment musically? So
yeah.
Wow. So Kelly's always wanted to play guitar. And
I was reading Cheryl A.K. says, I dive into a project that usually requires very loud power tools. It's a need to feel in control of something when everything else is uncontrollable. I love that. I was just envisioning that, harnessing the energy instead of letting the energy take over. That's awesome.
Power tools. That is something that I don't know how to use, really. I know how to use a broom. I like to sweep the floor.
That's so true. And it's so symbolic again, right? I love the symbolism of things. And so cleaning and organizing, and it's just a reflection of our inner world as well. So
it's like how some people, especially men, take up sports, like violent sports like boxing or mixed martial arts,
rugby
way, or rugby, right? Yeah.
My daughters are both rugby players.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, my oldest got a full ride scholarship paid for her 4-year degree playing women's rugby.
I didn't know that. That is so cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. So I guess the takeaway here is that the jury's sort of out on music. We all have our skills. I think my skill is I have this, and I want to know a little bit more about the Sesame Street breathing method. Kelly had said something about it earlier, and I can't find the comment now, but she said it on my last live stream too. I really want to learn that method. I kind of wish I
don't know about that either. Sesame Street
I don't know how to
breathing.
bring her up on the panel here. Because I'm kind of dumb about this. I know how to email the link to somebody, but I don't know how to actually put it in. I guess I could do. But anyways, I don't know what her Sesame Street method is, but my 8-second cool down is just like kind of sucking in a bunch of air and holding it for 8 seconds and then letting it out really slowly, doing that a couple of different times until I feel like a tingling in my head. And when I feel that tingling in my head, then I start to tell myself something encouraging, like you can get through this. This is not that bad in the grand scheme of things. How much is this going to matter? Will the IRS be knocking at my door? No, they're not going to be. It's going to be fine. And everything will get done at the end of the day, sort of a thing. So that's what I do. But I'm not always that skillful at it. But especially when
there's a lot of different breathing techniques. Oh gosh, who is the guy? The Iceman? Do you guys? Is anybody?
Yes, Wim Hof.
Wim Hof. Yes, I was watching one of his. Yeah, and he was talking about he has. It might be on YouTube.
It is.
He's got a video out there of he will walk you through a breathing method, and I don't know if it was him or someone else, but they used this 4 square, this like. Breathe, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, that kind of a thing. Yeah, Wim Hof. Yeah.
Wim Hof is a crazy guy. Dude, this guy, he goes in, I don't know if you've heard about him, Rabid, but he is, I don't know what, it seems like he's from Norway or something. Yeah, he's from somewhere where it's really super cold and icy in the water. And he's like, the ice is my teacher. And he like jumps into a freaking glacier. And I'm like, whoa, cold, not good for me. But he's like, the ice is my teacher about how to breathe. And then so he I don't mean to make fun of Wim Hof. I actually am subscribed.
He's amazing. And he teaches people like little Bilby was saying, I do a cold shower. So me too. After listening to him, I always finish on an ice cold shower every morning. Like, but it's so good for your body. It's good for your circulation. There's so many health benefits to it. And
everyone says that, but I'm too much of a wimp to have a cold shower.
Right?
I'm like, I can't lift weights, but I could take a cold shower.
Well, the other day I was going to do it because he says, all you have to do is be 5 minutes in the shower. I'm like, that's not that bad. And so I turn on the shower, I turn it on hot. I'm like, I'm going to turn it on cold. I'm like, no freaking way am I getting in that cold shower. I'm like turning it back.
I turn it out hot. That's what I do. I wash, do whatever I need to do with the hot, and then my hand, literally, my head says no, but my hand turns it. And then I go as long as I can, but 5 minutes is a long time.
Wow, little Bilby does it too. So I don't know. Rabbit and I need to take the cold shower challenge maybe and just see how we check that. See who's going to do it first.
Yeah.
Well, he'll probably.
I'll let you do it first.
He'll do it first because he's 8 hours ahead of us, and so it's going to be.
He'll
before I will. We'll see how it works, and if he does it, I'll do it.
That's what he was thinking.
I'll tell you what, though, that does not sound attractive. So, well, so I guess anybody else have any chaos tips, tools, techniques?
I've got an interesting question.
Oh yes, please do.
Just fire it out. Have any of you guys had a moment of chaos that you enjoyed, or you think was beneficial in some way? Tough question, right?
Yeah. That is a great question. I've been really thinking in the same vein of the addiction to chaos that we have, right? And I've caught myself a few times where I I was telling Tracy, I had 2 big presentations this last week. And oh my gosh, they just talk about inner chaos. I create a lot of chaos before I have to do a presentation. And I was done Friday. I was done and it felt so good. And it was like a matter of hours before I caught myself replacing that inner chaos with something else to worry about, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, ooh, I need to check that addiction.
Yeah, but is that helpful though? Is that motivating, or is it something that the brain needs to relax and you're not letting it, sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel at all. But I think you're right. I think the motivating, like a part of me is like, I need to be stressed to accomplish, something.
Yeah. Because I think we need a little bit of that to keep us on edge in those moments,
Yeah.
Well, it's
in our brain. Isn't like the part of our brain, Tracy, you probably know much more about it than I do, but we are wired like as we evolved into human beings, the parts of the brain that evolved first was the reptilian part of our brain that was the parasympathetic nervous system, right? That is like fight or flight, or sympathetic nervous system. But so that is kind of at the core of who we are, is we turn on to deal with stress, and then most other animals turn off, but we don't.
Right.
Do you know what's sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you know what's interesting as well? I think the reason that we have that massive fight or flight thing that kicks in a moment of chaos is because if you think back to, when we were hunter-gatherers, and say there's a rustle in the grass next to you, okay, the person that would have thought that was a tiger or a lion would immediately run, okay? But the one that was less frightened would maybe pause for a little too long and end up getting eaten by the tiger. So all the ones that reacted more to fear survived, right? The whole Darwinian thing. So we've obviously kept that fight or flight, in our.
That's who
as
we
you say,
from.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Well, there was a book by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I am just so impressed that I can say that.
I'm impressed too.
So am I, yeah. Wow.
And it's called Flow, and I think that it's sort of a state of like, if you're in chaos or if you're in calm, but if you're in a state of flow, you're like right there to where there's just enough coming in that you're managing it really well. And I like being in that state, and that's really helpful, but there has to be a little push in that direction. Like when I have a degree in accounting, and I used to do a bunch of payroll. I was a payroll person for like 12 years. And every time a payroll was due, there would be complete and other, like trying to gather the pieces together and coming together into a flow. And sometimes it would be like more on the chaos end. Sometimes it would be like I could do this in my sleep. But I think the timing is right when you have just enough to challenge you, but not too much that it drains your resources.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my opinion on it.
Yes. I love it. Yeah. That balance.
Because too much is going to make you probably unhealthy, isn't it?
It's taxing on the brain. It looks like Kelly is saying something about the brain about an arousal jag. So I'm not sure. I have to have her on next time. And I have her email address, so I can send her a link next time and see if she can come on. To know a lot about the brain.
Yes.
and so, yeah. Well, so I don't know if let's see. I think I want to take a break, and I want to take Rabid Dog's temperature here. What is? Oh my! 8.3. Wow.
I'm impressed.
Is that good for a dog, or is that about? Wait a minute. Maybe we should take it through the other end. Wait a minute. Oh, now it's lower now. It's 60. Oh my goodness. No, I am so impressed.
So I don't need to go to the veterinary, no?
Well, I think you're going to be okay. It's, are you still barking? Can you bark? Can you bark for us?
Now and again, yeah.
Oh.
I've not lost it completely.
Yeah. Well, what can we ask you as much as you want to tell the idea behind the name? Because I Googled, well, no, I was on YouTube. I searched for you, and there was all these pictures of these dogs going.
I know.
Isn't that awful? I was like, wait a minute. I know it's a red dog.
Yeah.
But there was all these before you came up. There was all these dogs like.
And all this stuff about Rabid, right?
How did you come up with this name, Rabid Dog?
All right, this is always a tough question. The first short film I did that I put up on YouTube was kind of a result of a film school that I was taking part in at the time. And in a way, I see a lot of us just being like rabid dogs. We're all chasing like some kind of bone, right? We're chasing a bone of some kind.
We're freaking out and foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, right. And it can make some of us rabid and go wrong, but it can make others realize, more about themselves. And it's just that sort of journey of discovery that's kind of interesting to me. So Rabid Dog came from that film.
I knew there was some deeper meaning to that, so thank you for sharing for sure. Well, are there
that was my rabid dog coughing.
You have a rabid dog there too.
She's a very old dog, and she has a chronic cough. Anyway, on the topic of dogs.
Is there anybody either in chat or here on this panel that has any U.S. election predictions? Not just what's going to happen in terms of who's going to win or lose, but like what the people are going to do, what conspiracy theories could be hatched, or what might go on YouTube. Does anybody have any sort of intuitive senses about what is going to happen? Tomorrow is the day, and maybe I'll wear this. Look at these spikes. I love this it comes with this little costume comes with the spikes. I could go and do some battle with these spikes.
Oh, you could do some damage with them.
I could with these and my toenails. That would be like amazing because my toenails are lethal weapons. So anybody have anything? Oh, calming the chaos. Don't get me started. Should I bring you on, Timmy? You could talk. Shake your head, yes or no. You said no. Oh, okay. I see him in the studio. Okay, well, he'll type out his predictions. He's a little camera shy. That's my husband, Timmy the wrench, Timmy the tool. That is doing all this.
Timmy the tool.
Don't get me started. Anybody else? You guys.
How are the polls looking? I know it's always risky to look at the polls, but
if Timmy was going to come on here. This is your show. Yeah, but you're like the political brain. How are the polls looking, Laura? You don't know. You don't listen to the news.
Nope. I'm not. I don't watch TV anymore. That's my thing. So.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about I'm not concerned about wins or loses, but what the people do in response to it.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Obviously, after what happened after Trump first got in. If he gets in again, do you think it's going to be the same kind of reaction?
No, I really think that when he got in initially, I think that everybody held their breath because they didn't think it was going to last. I think people kept thinking he was going to. There were the investigations about the whole election, and then there were investigations about other things, and it just that whole first year just drug on so long. I think that people didn't take to the streets because they just really thought that justice would be served. I know I'm trying not to be one-sided here. Wow. And this time's different. I think that regardless who gets elected, I think there's going to be people taking the streets.
I think so.
Yeah, because maybe there was more complacency last time around.
Mm.
That's maybe how Trump got in, because people just never dreamed he would get in.
Exactly.
Um,
And then they
and
left a lot of their faith in the justice system that, you
to
know.
put things right afterwards. Those damn Russians.
Right? That's what they're saying, is there's interference, there's suppression, there's the Supreme Court, and then there's the person who wins ultimately. Are we going to actually see somebody who is going to say, all right, well, you know, you're the winner, I'm the loser? Because I don't see either one of them doing that.
I have a question. One of the things that keeps coming up for me is thinking about the pandemic. I feel like we live in a time right now where there's all these cross sections of people. Hey, Tim.
Hey.
I think there's these cross sections of like people that are traditionally more liberal, or people traditionally more conservative. And then there's this pandemic. And then there are people, the pandemic is kind of totally politicized, right? And if you wear a mask, then you're, you know, a Democrat. And if you don't wear a mask, you support Trump. And it's crazy.
That's crazy, isn't it?
What is that?
I love it. This is his South Park
like,
mask.
South Park.
Oh, it's great.
I don't know if you guys are safe or not.
Let me take your temperature.
Yeah, we got the temperature going.
82.7. Get ye to the hospital.
So one of the things that has come up for me is I don't necessarily, like, I've always thought of myself politically leaning towards one end, but then I'm not totally in agreement with the majority of maybe liberals thinking about what's happening with the pandemic. So I'm finding myself in this weird place of like, whoa, what camp do I belong in? And why do I think I got to belong in a camp? And who are my people? And why do I need to have a people? Like, it's this weird existential stuff going on lately. And I didn't know how many other people are experiencing that or not, or what you think about that.
I love that. Like, just sort of like a, whoa, I'm in an existential, like, weird state. Yeah.
I can't just pick a team. Like, it was too easy all those years before, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, that my opinion is when he first got voted in 2016, I was shocked. But I took it with a grain of salt. He was not the person I voted for. But I thought, you know what? Well, maybe somebody who's not a career politician, maybe things will be a little bit different. Maybe he'll do things differently. He was a great deal maker, and I understood that. But then, as you know, anytime that they have to build a website dedicated to the amount of lies that you commit every single day over the most nonsensical things, the stupid stuff, and I'm not going to get into all of it, but it's just dumb things that he says and does. And for me, I guess there was a lot of final straws, but just the handling of the pandemic alone, whether you believe it's true or not, if you want to believe the death count, but even if the death count is half of what they say it is, that's still over 100,000 people that have died due to this pandemic, even if it's only half. Let's just say 25%. You're still talking over 60 to 70,000 people are dead. And he had an opportunity. His son-in-law had a testing plan in place, ready to go. It wasn't a very good plan, but at least it was a start. And just the fact that he did nothing.
He played it down a lot, didn't he?
He didn't. He says, oh, I shut down travel from China, but yet still over 40,000 people came in from China. Doesn't sound like you really shut it down. And most of the severe cases were actually coming in from Europe. But anyways, I can get political. We could talk about this for hours. The point is he knew it was bad and he did nothing about it. And he's had so many opportunities to change this. He wants to leave it up to the states. But unlike other countries, like in Europe, when you know, the countries are so small or smaller than our states are in some instances, you got to go through security checkpoints to go from country to country. Here, I could go from the state of Washington to the state of Oregon to the state of California, and nobody is pulling me over checking my papers. Yeah. So if Washington has very tight, stringent rules as to COVID security and whatnot, and Idaho, which is a neighboring state ours, has no restrictions, how are you going to stop this pandemic from spreading? It needs to be a national plan, not an individual state plan. And he still has opportunities to fix this, and he doesn't lift a finger to do it. That's what I'm saying. There you go.
Yeah, Timmy
Good
for
point,
president.
good point.
You know, he did write himself in on the ballot this year, not for president, but for another office that was uncontested. So, so who thinks there might be riots? And if there is, then what are we supposed to be able to do to keep ourselves safe? Because I think that's kind of where a lot of chaos comes in. Is like, am I safe? Like roaming the streets? Oh,
For me, it's being in Scotland. That'll keep me safe.
Yeah.
I see where you're at.
Yeah.
You're good. You can go. You can roam the streets. Well, you're a rabid dog, so
I can. Yeah.
everybody's scared of you.
Yeah. I can roam the streets.
You know, I used to have a friend who could chew up ice cubes and make like drool out of it. You know, it makes thick, like drooly water. And so maybe we should just all go out in the streets and just like do that. And everybody will stay away from us like we're rabid. And they'll be going, oh no, you know. And that'll keep us
Zombie apocalypse.
I was just thinking zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, we could pretend we're zombies, and that way we will be immune to the crowds. All kidding aside, because part of this is a like a lighthearted look at it. But yeah, do we think that there could be riots? This is a good question, little Bilby. What do you think?
I don't know that there'll be riots, but I do know, and you posted my comment earlier, they are erecting some like unscalable walls around the White House right now. At least this is what I read somewhere.
Well, literally.
Literally unscalable. Well, I don't know. I mean, his wall down there between Mexico and the U.S. is supposed to be indestructible, and they went to Home Depot and bought a saw and cut right through it. So I don't know how unscalable it is, but apparently they think or have some information and believe that there could be some issues. And I know over here where we're at, up in Seattle and Portland and maybe some other areas, you know, there's a lot of people that like to create chaos. They do. There you go, Tracy. They do. Like with May Day. I don't know if you guys remember May Day a few years ago. I believe there was an issue on the night before Halloween, Devil's Night, a few years back as well, where there was a lot of mayhem that happened, a lot of chaos, rioting. And obviously, you know, they saw an opportunity with the death of George Floyd and Jacob Blake and Breonna Taylor. And I think they're still on, like, I don't know, their 150th day in a row of marching down in Portland or something like that. But you never know. I mean, who knows?
Well, how can we keep ourselves safe in case I mean, obviously Rabid Dog is safe because not only he's rabid, but he's in Scotland. So how are we going to, like, what happens if this is our last gathering together and somebody tramples us in the street?
I think that we fear what we don't understand. And we, so I'm going out on a limb here, but Tracy, you were talking about conspiracy theories, and this is also in line with. First of all, I don't like that word. I hate that word, conspiracy. What does it really mean? It's really a thought or an idea that is to the majority of the people not true. There have been plenty of conspiracy theories that have been later, you know, proven as true, and plenty that haven't. So I don't like just that label that's thrown out, because it gets used as kind of a weapon for people who have a different way of thinking. And so we fear what we don't understand. And so the media has fed us a hell of a lot of fear this year, whether that's about the election or the pandemic or the riots. And yes, those things are happening. And I would go so far as to say, if you were talking to people that were in the front lines of any of those arenas, it's probably not as bad as we ourselves, our fear and our imagination is making.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, yeah, I mean, the riots, there was a lot of people that were out there as a show of force, standing up for something they believed in, which is their right to do so, and a few people that were turning it into chaos. And the media likes to blow it up and scare people, and so, you know, for whatever that's worth, I think that we have to be very vigilant on feeding into the fear.
Do you not think as well, there's a lot of people that join in with those types of marches or riots without any deep reasoning or, you know, philosophy behind it? It's more because they see it as being hip and what the young ones are doing or something. Right? It's all for the wrong reasons, you know?
Yeah.
If you were to pull a few of them aside from a march and, you know, they're holding their banner or flag, and actually ask them what they really thought about these things, they probably couldn't give you a real answer. You know?
Yeah, they jump on the bandwagon.
They probably don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so if information is sort of cluttering everything up, and we need information to calm our fears down, yeah, it's sort of like how much is too much information, maybe, and to be able to cut off the information when it's not helpful. I think we talked about that earlier, because fear, like what you said, what was that? Fear is something only about the imagination, is only as strong as your imagination. Is that what you said? Yeah. So I don't really have a whole lot of fear. I'm going out tomorrow because I have to go to my office. So I will be driving in a car. My office is not downtown, so I don't have a whole lot of fear, but there's been some riots downtown in the past, and I don't know that they will be happening like right when I get off of work at 5 o'clock. So I'm just going to book it home and lock the doors of my car. And what else am I going to do? I'm going to carry my pepper spray with me just in case. I have this really cool badass tool that, you know, it could break my own window if I land in water. And so I can use that tool. It has a knife in it and stuff like that. And so I think I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be not worried about anything.
I thought I was your tool.
Well, you're my number one tool. This is my other tool that's in the car.
It's a backup tool.
Yeah. So are you going out tomorrow? I know Timmy is not, right? You're going to stay. You're probably going to be glued to the TV all day.
Oh, what am I doing tomorrow?
I'm going to be doing my billing tomorrow, baby. I'm going to be doing my statements. It's the first of the month. Sorry, I don't mean to be so bossy, but there it is. Okay, so you're going to be probably staying home. What about you, Laura? Are you going to be going out into the world tomorrow?
I do. I have a full day of clients, and I'm just going to operate as usual.
That's what I'm doing too.
And I'm definitely putting out good vibes, you know.
That's a good point. I think that's a really good thing to sort of get back to, is that, like, can we just sort of think the thoughts of like that are, let's see, if you're thinking about vibrational energy, fear is at the very bottom and love is at the very top. So if we could sort of try and raise the energy to something a little bit more positive for the world, that would be awesome.
That's kind of, I mean, that really has been my philosophy through. Again, I want to just really stress, I'm not a Pollyanna, kind of stick my head in the sand and just, you know, sprinkle crystals on everything. That's not me. I'm a rebel, I'm a fighter, and I will always, I want to be informed for sure. And when what we focus on is also seeking us, right? That saying. And so I am not drawing negative energy into, you know, my realm at all. So
I love that.
If that's going to help other people too, great.
That's a great philosophy, and it's completely in line with the way I believe as well. And I know that there's realists, and then there's the people who are conspiracy people and are, what do you call it? They think that there's just pessimists, there's optimists, there's Pollyannas. So in that scale there, I really, at this point in time, just want to go forth, do my best, be as positive as I can, and carry on, and have my pepper spray with me. And,
I have a Doberman, actually.
You have a what?
I have a Doberman. We've always had my dad was a dog trainer, so we've never had to lock our doors at night.
Well, you should train Rabid. He's apparently out of control, but he's kind of far away in Scotland. So.
Yeah, I'm scared of Dobermans anyway. So.
Oh.
Yeah, he looks like a little pup to me. So
People tell me that. Yeah, I should have picked a better logo.
It's cute. So did you? Yeah, and so this has been helpful for me because I guess I just sort of in a roundabout way got back to where I truly believe, which is to not make a big deal out of it, to be as safe as I can, and to just sort of raise the vibrational energy in my own little way.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah. Anybody else? Nobody in chat has any chaos here. Somebody, Dan's in California, and yeah, be safe out there. Everybody in the States. I know Little Bilby's in Australia, Rabid's in Scotland, I believe. Or are you in Ireland? Are you in England?
No, I'm in Scotland. I was in Ireland before. But you just reminded me of something Little Bilby said earlier. In Australia, it's compulsory to vote.
Yes.
Never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I had to look it up. And then there's a fine if you don't vote. I guess it's $75.
Wow.
If you don't vote. I mean, I know we have an issue here in this country. I think it was the last election. I think there was only like 140 million people that voted. And we've already had, with the mail-in votes, I think over 80 or 90 million votes have already been cast. It's not even election day. Wow. So that's going to be really interesting to see how many people show up at the polls. I've already voted. I already dropped mine in the box. So
do you think the fact that it looks like more people are more kind of awake and looking to participate this time is bad for Trump?
Yes.
I think so too. That's the feeling I get. Yeah.
Well, and that's why he's tried so hard to suppress the vote. In Texas, I know that each county in the state of Texas only has one drop-off box, whereas for us here, just in our county, I could probably name off 3 or 4 different dedicated drop-off boxes. So, and it's not like Texas was going to vote for Biden, but there was a chance. So, and then there's other things where, he's doesn't want the vote counted after November 3rd. And that's never been the case, so who knows? I think it has alerted people to vote early, and in some cases, like he said, vote often. If you get one in the mail it in, and then show up on election day and vote as well. I hope all of his voters do that.
Oh my goodness, I know. Well,
I did want to ask you something there, Rabid. You're in Scotland, so are you mourning the death of Sir Connery?
Oh yeah, God. I mean, it's so sad. I mean, I know he was 90 years old, but it's still a shock, and it just feels like you just imagine these kind of legends being around forever in a way, Yeah. And he's one of these guys that you're not really going to get his type much more. He's really old school, old fashioned, big guy. Yeah, actually, he's from not far from me. He was brought up in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the famous Scots tend to be from the west through in Glasgow, but he was one of the few that were from the east side where I am.
Oh wow! Interesting trivia. He actually participated. I believe it was in the 1954 Mr. Universe contest.
That's right. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Knowledge that's stuck up here.
Those facts.
That's a great bar quiz question, isn't it?
It would be.
Yeah, like a true or false. Wow. So how old was he? Do you know how old he was?
He was 90 years old.
90 years old.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I saw that the other day. I mean, he was the one where the ladies were saying it's not fair. Sean Connery gets older and he gets more wrinkles and he's more sexy than he ever was. Like women, they can't get wrinkles or else they're just like sort of discarded in Hollywood. So
that's what they say.
Yeah.
And he was one of the few actors out there that could get away with having exactly the same accent, regardless of who he played, where his
True.
character was from.
Yes.
He played a Russian
Yeah, he played the
captain on a
Russian.
submarine.
Yeah, what was that? I can't remember the
Scottish
name of that movie, but yeah,
Red October.
Red
Yeah.
October.
Yeah, yep. And then he played
Roguish.
Indiana Jones's dad,
That's right. Yeah.
and he almost played Gandalf.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He was offered the role first.
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you see me talking like Gandalf the Grey?
Oh,
Just ruin my money penny.
Wow, you two are you almost sound exactly alike. Holy cow. Somebody take my temperature now. Oh my God.
Where have you been, Tim? Yeah.
90 degrees? What the hell?
Oh,
I didn't have it. I set it on the room temperature. All right. 97.7. Darn. I still have to go to work tomorrow. Okay. Well, I don't know. Are we done? Are we complete? Do we feel complete? This is the longest I've ever been on a live as a host. It's been
well, I still have chaos.
Oh, but we just right? It's a good thing.
I'll
some of your classical music.
Still working on it.
I'll turn my thing off here. Now you don't have any more chaos. See, now I'm back. Now I'm gone. No, just kidding.
You're getting good at that.
No, I'm actually don't even know how to put a link in the chat, which I need to figure out later on. But well, what's your chaos, Mr. Rabid Dog? Anything in particular, or do you just want like a technique, or do you just want to be with your chaos and let it breed?
Yeah, I guess I don't have too much chaos right now, but I'm just aware that it's quite familiar to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just
it's like an old friend.
Back. Yeah, it's just something I've always had, I guess, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But awareness is the first piece, right? It's one thing to have chaos and not be aware of it, but it's another to be aware.
Yeah. Ignorance is not bliss in this case.
Right.
Well, if you are aware of it, then you are able to do something about it if you'd like to. If you want to keep it around. Some people find that it's adaptive to keep things around and they don't know why. And that's when I challenge people to explore if there's a subconscious reason that they are in like a lot of chaos. So I know that I do this a lot. And so just a little self-disclosure, I am in chaos sometimes, and I think it's subconsciously a reason for me to get help, and I don't know how to ask for help. So, but if I start floundering around and start yelling and screaming and everybody sees that I'm in distress, then people will help me. So I don't know, explore maybe some possible subconscious reasons why you might be continuing to hold on to chaos, and maybe it's adaptive, maybe it's not so bad.
That would be a fun show, Tracy, is to look at the secondary gains of chaos.
Like,
all the benefits of chaos. That would be a fun exercise.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Right. Well, I do that all the time.
You too.
Can be that witness for me, because I'll be running around and doing this and doing that and doing that. And he'll be just like in his Jedi robe, like scrolling on his phone, and I'll be going, ah! But I can't say, honey, can you please help me with something? No, I have to like make it into this big, huge show. And then he's just like, I'm sorry, did you say something? Is there something you want me to help you with? Oh my gosh. Yeah. But so there could be a reason why or it could be adaptive. Like you could just have it because you're just very like a highly sensitive person, and you are constantly sort of vigilant of the environment. Like, I think
I know that I always get described as being an overthinker by family members and friends and things. I don't know, that could be related, right? Just overthinking things in your head. It can
So yeah, that could be your greatest tool and your greatest our greatest gift is our greatest downfall, right? Depending on how we use it.
Yeah. Because you have to switch off now and again, don't you?
Right. Yeah.
Looks like Outback is here. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Outback.
Yeah. And I guess it's probably a decent hour there if little Bilby is here and Outback is here. We're just about to wrap it up. I want to know if he's here and he's going to answer a question. I would love to be able to ask him in that. I don't know how many people have seen Outback's fire video with the Outback fire, and he was in the truck and he was getting all hot and like fighting this bushfire. And I just want to know how he kept so calm when he was like, obviously the city was in danger of being burned down. And here he was in this little fire truck with a hose and just kind of doing this thing. He's like, oh, it's hot here. It's hot. It's really hot. And I'm like, how are you keeping so calm?
Calm in the chaos.
Well, I just wanted to know, like, what is your secret, Outback? And maybe that's a good point to end it. Because, I mean, raising the energy, the positive energy is one thing, but like when there is really stuff going on, life threatening, then how do you stay so calm? So we'll wait to see if he responds to that. And because there's a little delay about this. And I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. This was
thank you for the invitation. It was great.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I'm glad. So for people who haven't seen my little Batgirl outfit, here it is, like complete with cape, like
cape belt,
like very interesting.
I love your necklace. Show us your necklace up close.
I know it's a kind of this old. It doesn't really fit. It's old, like I think it's an onyx or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, we had a great time. Timmy was dressed up as the Joker. Was it the Joker or the Riddler?
It was the Joker.
Oh, okay.
Joker.
It looks like you're wearing underwear on your face. Okay.
No comment.
Did you guys see the latest Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes.
No, I've been hearing about it.
Incredible. That was an incredible film.
I need to see that.
Yeah, what did you like most about it, Rabid?
Just it was so serious, and it was a great deep dive into serious mental health as well. Which you would, because obviously it's not an archetypal superhero film, but on the face of it, it's a superhero film. But yeah, it was just, and the acting in it was superb as well.
Yeah, we were actually in the theater seeing the movie, and of course it was before COVID, and there's two young people next to me, and I couldn't really see if they're male, female or what, but there was this one part where, and I don't want to spoil it for Laura since she hasn't seen it, but
I've been hearing about it, so it's okay.
There was this one part where his mental health funding or his counseling got taken away. And I remember leaning over to Timmy and saying, yeah, that's happening in Olympia too. And the people next to me were like, yep, it is. And I felt so heartbroken, like, for that, like, how many people like need mental health counseling or even just resources like I try and provide on this channel and in my work with the podcast, that there are some people out there that aren't getting what they really need. And then, other things can start to happen, like the decline of a human, like what happened with him. But
I think mental health is, if not the top, then very close to the top issue socially in the Western world, in the modern Western world. Really do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an important thing.
Talk more about that too. Yeah.
Well, so it looks like Outback came up with a kind of a response here. You can't control what you can't control. So yeah, fires, not in control, but he was controlling them. He was controlling himself, and that made it possible for him to be able to be helpful. I like that because if we're able to be aware of when we are sort of spinning out of control and bring it back in and think a little bit more clearly, slow it down a little bit, we're probably going to be able to do more good in this world than not. So thank you for the service that you did out back to that community. If nobody has seen that film that he did, that video, it's really amazing how he was able to do. You just go onto his channel and it's called something like Wild Bushfires or something. And it's about maybe, I would say 14, 15 minutes long. But you see the fires and you see that they're coming over the road and everything. So check it out. Yeah. And here's another little thing he put in. Fire will go where it wants to. We've had a lot of fires in the United States this year, and especially on the West Coast. So all you can do is try and direct it, fighting it with fire. Ooh, wow. Sounds a little like the YouTube community right now. But are we controlling the burns? Controlling burns or back burns. Yeah. Control yourself first. Thank you, Outback, for offering that. And again, if you want to see somebody who's calm and I guess as cool as he can be in a really, really super hot truck, and collected, watch that video on his channel.
So can I just ask, Tracy, you mentioned a podcast. Do you have that? Have you had that going for a long time? Is that aside from your YouTube channel?
Well, I tried to incorporate both of them. I started the podcast last year about this time, and it's on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and I've been trying to move some of my podcasts over to YouTube because I like doing films. And so, but lately what I've been doing is I've been recording them all on YouTube and taking the audio from the YouTube channel and putting it on iTunes as well. And I don't have a following. Well, I don't have a huge following at all. And so it's just a labor of love that I do these things because I really want people just to have the information, any information I can put out there. And also to refer people to when they call me and want counseling and I can't provide it for them. I feel kind of bad just saying, well, go to this person, this person, this person. But it's kind of nice for me to have something that's out there. Yeah. So, and then I know Laura and I are manifesting buddies, and we both wanted to do podcasts, and we're both in the midst of trying to figure out our way to do that. And so she's a fellow podcaster as well. And
really?
Well, she's got more of a following on Facebook. And
yeah, I haven't launched my podcast yet, so it's coming.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and she also, you do consulting throughout the whole entire world, right? You can do consulting for anybody, and anybody who needs elder care and services. Can they just email you, or what's a good way to contact you?
My website is eldercarecounselor.com. And so I do have a really, a narrow niche of folks that I serve, and it's really helping people navigate the aging system. And so I have a small group practice, and my employees are counselors and care managers, but I do a lot of consulting for families that are just lost and they're stressed and they don't know what to do. And so I do consulting.
Oh, you just reminded me of a point I wanted to make earlier. That's one of the big differences between the generations during this whole lockdown period. Most of us have social media and things like YouTube in order to, communicate through this tough time. Whereas obviously the older generation are not really accustomed to using that as such. Yeah. It would be as if we were in the 60s or 70s when this was happening. We'd all be in that same position without things like this. So, we're quite lucky in a way, but they don't have that,
Yeah. We're learning so much, when I talked about the isolation connection, and the difference is if you feel isolated or connected. So I may be in this house by myself and not see anyone for a week, but I may feel connected because I'm connecting with others through social media or the phone or whatever. Whereas, yes, the example of some older adults that might be living in a facility and they may have people coming in and out, they're caregivers or care providers, but they don't feel connected to them. They, or those older folks that are living at home without help. But yeah, you bring up such a good point. I think this is a new generation, right? And think of the kids, the little ones that are learning. I mean, here in the United States, most of the schools are not open. And so they're having their classes online, and they're learning to develop social relationships online.
A different way, yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend, you know what, Tracy, there's another therapist that I met. He lives down in California, and he's developing a new therapy, if you will, video game therapy. And so he's teaching parents and therapists how to provide psychotherapy through playing video games with kids. And it's just I love listening to him. It's fantastic how he's teaching family members how to relate and how to join them where they're at, the kids where they're at, and be on a team together. And anyway.
Wow. That would be awesome. I know that
time, right?
It's a big thing, and you can, meet them where they're at. If they're all into video games and you try and do a talk therapy session and it's not working, then I would have to learn how to play video games then.
I know, me too.
I don't know how to do that. Oh man.
Me too.
Something else. Just something else.
I think I zoned out of video games around the time of Pac-Man.
And yeah,
I know how to play that one.
You just be the same generation.
Oh my gosh. Well, so I appreciate you guys all being here today. I think that we got a lot of things talked about, and also just kind of end up on a positive note. And yeah, so thank you for joining me, and we'll just go ahead and end. I don't know why my sound isn't coming on though. Oh my gosh. Oh, there it is. Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah.
I love the sound effects.
There's my polite golf clap. Yeah. But yeah. So all right. Until next time, I wish everybody well, and the prediction is everybody is going to be safe, and we're going to be raising the energy and keeping the chaos in check, while also considering possible subconscious reasons why we might want to keep chaos around.
Yes.
All right. Anybody want to hear me playing my guitar?
Yes.
Okay, so this is something, I'm just going to play the recording. Okay, wait. And this is my sign-off music. Can everybody hear that? Okay. Well,
you can play.
It's open tuning. It's not that hard. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah. Well, everybody have a good evening, and I'll end the broadcast now.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.